Hello Terrain Tronics engineers, my name is David, and this short video is about assembling the bases for my Dungeons & Dragons lighting kit. A link to the video about the kits is up here, and there are two different kinds of bases in the kit, so whether you bought the files in STL format from Cult 3D, or if you purchased them directly from me, they're both relevant. Beyond what you'll get in the kit, you'll also need bare 22 gauge wire and some of the wire wrapping wire that I suggest in the links below. In addition, a soldering kit is highly recommended. There's a nice cheap one on Amazon that I recommend in this kit. And with that said, let's dive in.
First thing to do is to clean out some of the plastic that's been printed here as supports. This is a positive hole, so you're going to cut a piece of wire and make sure it goes through to there. Okay, what I like to do, cut a piece of this, bend it over like that, pop it through there, and then pop it through the plus sign as well. What that should give you is a pair of contacts for your positive signal, and you can attach your LED wire directly to that little U-bridge that you've made right there. A little spot of super glue, job done once everything is soldered. Now the negative terminal is a little bit harder to do. I use a pin vise to, and you should aim for this to be about the same diameter as your wire, or maybe a little wider. Now let's cut a little bit more of this, going the other way this time. And what I like to do at this point is just to try and fold these around each other if you can. And again, a spot of glue will help here as well to hold it in place. I'll cut off any excess. Okay, so now you have the negative terminal and the positive terminal for your LED.
Now to wire this up, we're going to use some of our wire wrap cable. Cut a little piece of that, and then we're going to feed it down through the actual lamppost itself. I'm going to take two wires here. I've used the red and black, you don't have to. But from there, we need to make sure it's going to kind of have enough wire at the bottom to connect to our two terminals. I'm going to strip a little bit of both wires. There's the red and the black. And then cut a little bit of the resin post itself. Be careful here, but just enough to let the wires out. Now you're going to build up earth around the base once everything's wired anyway. Then loop the wires around the two terminals that we've created. And then a wee dab of solder, just to make sure it stays in place. This isn't for strength, more for connectivity. And then use some resin glue that I used. You can use hot glue for this as well, like resin in this case. I don't need a separate power for it. And that's it, voila. Now build it up and base it as you would.
Well, these smaller bases, again, have a CR2032, but the thing that retains it and holds it in is actually a magnet. So one of the first things you're going to do is you're going to glue just a bit of super glue this magnet into the base there. Okay, and that's going to be glued in there once you're finished. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take some of your wire with no covering on it, right? There's no plastic around this. And you're going to thread that through each of these holes. Now what you've actually created by doing so is you've actually created a connector that's going to touch the negative side of the battery. So here's your negative wire. So that's the first part. And then the next part, the other side now, is the connector on the side here. Okay, and that's actually going to make contact with the side of the battery. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a little bit more of our solid core wire, and I'm simply going to bend it like that in my fingers, and it's going to go down the side here, and that will very simply sit like that. Okay, and with a bit of glue up here just to hold it in place. This is giving you a loop to solder your LED to. Put the battery back in. You'll see that these contacts here are touching the battery, and this contact here. So this is your positive, the long leg of the LED, and this is the short leg of the LED, the negative. Just to prove that this works, I'm going to get a multimeter. Okay. The negative going to be the black. And that's going to go on the middle here, and the red on the outside. Ready? Boom. 3.3 volts. So you'll solder these, or you'll connect them to your LED, and off you go.
So with a few cheap tools and some wire, you'll find hooking up this D&D terrain easy enough. Head on over to terraintronics.com to find out more, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks again.